Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Star Wars again. Because another day, another drama around Disney Star Wars.
They won't let you forget it.
You can't forget it. You know what Disney apparently forgot, or Star Wars Twitter account apparently forgot, were the sequel trilogy characters in a recent tweet.
Some of the prequel too, by the looks of it, yeah.
Yeah, so basically just like Clone Wars and original trilogy, and they're getting called out on Twitter because of course they are, but it actually is an image that's cropped down from a larger, image. But we're going to talk about how Disney seems to be getting over the sequels, just in general. I think it's in the rearview mirror for them, even if some segments of fandom, standom, can't stand it.
More. I just think it's funny because wherever they crop the image, they could have cropped the image at any place to add the "May the Fourth be with you." They added it in there, so they could have cropped it on the sequels. They didn't. So I mean, no matter how you want to argue and be like, well, it's just part of a bigger image. That is true. But this is how they chose to crop it and where they chose to stick "May the Fourth be with you." They could have put it in other places.
And why does Luke not look anything like Mark Hamill? Why does he look like a woman?
I mean, the kind of looks like-ish. I think it's the art style for the artist. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because the face looks very similar to Carrie Fisher's too.
Maybe they're like, just so you know, Leia has a brother. She's the most important character in Star Wars, and she has a brother.
So this is the Star Wars Twitter account that went down for 2 weeks earlier in the month.
Yeah, it was weird.
And when it came back, it started up with this kind of stuff. So
we're going to talk about it because some of the media outlets are like, oh, people are so upset. They don't understand why Disney could be so cold.
I think it's funny, there's people that are getting salty because people are happy or they're salty about it's like you have all this drama about the image. And I'm like, says the person creating all the drama about the image. I just love how, they're themselves the exact same thing they claim that they don't like, and it's funny as heck.
So let's talk about that. Before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 187,000 subs. Climbing up again. Thank you for the support. We think that we kind of got throttled for a couple of weeks because of some salty Reylos.
Yeah, so now we're just going to get throttled again.
I think YouTube is ignoring them, just like Disney. Disney's ignoring the Reylos because this isn't the only instance of Disney or Lucasfilm walking back, pushing the sequel trilogy as hard as they had been. When Hasbro came out with the Lucasfilm 50th anniversary toys, the initial announcement, the sequel trilogy characters were missing. And remember when The Rise of Skywalker came out, again, talking about toys, there were very few Rise of Skywalker toys, and they were mixed in with original trilogy characters.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you see Cara Dune on the shelf, you hurry up and grab it because they got rid of her. Anyway,
she's gonna trade. She's gonna trade higher than Bitcoin at some point.
She's gonna trade higher than Rose Tico.
She's definitely gonna trade higher than Rose Tico. All right.
Anyway, before we start on any more of this, I just want to point out that I love that it says trending in the United States. Mel Brooks, don't panic, he's still alive.
Don't panic.
But I think it's funny because most of Twitter would be highly offended by Mel Brooks films and probably don't care if he's still alive.
They would be. Mel Brooks, he wasn't afraid to whack the beehive or punch the horse back in the day. And
so they're all like, oh, yay, Mel Brooks is still alive. I'm like, you clearly haven't seen his films because most of you would be triggered. If you think that the stuff that's out there now is triggering, go watch some Mel Brooks films.
All right, so Star Wars, the official Twitter account, which again was inactive for many weeks.
It's like 2 weeks.
And they're firing it up again. It's a fully operational Death Star.
Right. So they put this post up.
Oh my God.
And then we're going to cover this because the comments are gold.
Where are the sequel characters? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Why would you isolate a new generation of fans like this and only promote old nostalgia pandering for fans that are already trying to kick newer people out?
That's not what, whoa. They're trying to say that old fans are kicking the people out. So that's the people who literally block anyone who disagrees with them. And someone does that actually in his comments. And they go around calling all the people that like the old movies all kinds of names. And they do whatever they can to campaign to get Cara Dune, Gina Carano fired because they didn't like her political takes.
Do you know how popular Kylo and Rey are?
They're not very popular except to Reylos.
How much Finn and Rose mean to POC?
Yeah, they meant a lot. That's why Disney shafted Finn.
Yeah, right. Finn meant a whole lot. A whole lot to Disney. No one's trying to kick anyone out, but you have to acknowledge that Disney's Star Wars is not Star Wars. This is the worst comment section I've ever seen. I hope you realize that by excluding sequel characters, you're sending a message that Star Wars belongs to these trolls, racists, and haters.
Again, if you don't like the new Disney Star Wars films, it's not because they aren't very good films. It's because you're trolls, racists, and haters. In lockstep with the other commenters because they're too stupid to think of new things to say.
Disappointing to see Star Wars continuing to ignore the sequel trilogy in marketing and merchandise because it doesn't sell.
No one cares.
Nobody cares. They don't. You care. Reylos care. It's to Disney. They're like, wow, that was kind of a dud. Let's move on.
And my next comment is too, if you like it, you're allowed to like it. You can like the sequel trilogy, and that is cool. You are allowed to do so. The problem isn't that you aren't allowed to like it. The problem is that no one else is allowed to not like it. And if they don't like it or they like the original ones better, then you go around pandering, calling them names, doing all this shit, and acting like a bunch of whiny babies. That's the issue.
Sequel trilogy fans, hold strong. We'll see our beloved characters again in the future. The sequel trilogy will outlast all the shallow Star Wars media on the current slate.
Star Wars, all the media that's been pandering to Disney sequel trilogy and calling people names.
It's over. The sequel trilogy is over. The only way that they're going to bring these characters back is if somehow people are nostalgic for these characters in 15 or 20 years. Maybe, possibly, maybe. But even the prequel era, other than Clone Wars, is kind of in the rear view.
My advice to them is what the advice they gave to everybody who didn't like the new ones. They're not, I guess the old ones aren't for you. Just watch the new ones.
Who's this?
Oh, yeah.
She seems smart.
No, because the person above.
She's kind of hot, too.
Oh, thank you. The first, you're talking about me, I hope. Person above here, let me see. I love this comment. What's significant about this image is it's characters that can make money.
That is true. That is very true. That's all. At the end of the day, shippers, we're seeing this more and more. All Disney cares about is selling merchandise. Again, there's a reason why you're not seeing a lot of sequel era merchandise now because it sat on the effing shelf for years. They couldn't get rid of it. That's why Rise of Skywalker got very, very little merchandising, which is not the way things were supposed to go. The last quote-unquote Skywalker saga movie should have gone out with a big bang. They should have had a shit ton of toys and merchandise, and it was a very low-key affair. Mm-hmm. It was like our Walmart had like a single kiosk of Star Wars stuff, and only about 10% of it was Rise of Skywalker. The rest of it was original trilogy characters.
The Rise of Skywalker didn't sell.
And it didn't sell. Yeah, the Dios sat there for how long?
Oh, forever. They had cleared them out for like $3, like really cheap. I love this. I'm celebrating watching the Mandalorian episodes featuring Gina Carano.
Excluding the sequels, that's a no from me, Chief.
The comments to these people, though, that are having fit are even more funny. Like, if you click on the comments to them, it's even funnier.
Well, thinking positively, now you know what older fans felt like when the thing they loved got ruined. Maybe now original trilogy fans and DST fans can come together and stop the infighting.
One can only hope.
I don't think that's going to happen.
See yourself out of the Star Wars fandom, then.
I'll miss you. Get the hell out of Mos Eisley.
It's like the sequel's the worst thing ever to be in the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's funny because the people that, they're just jumping on them, and like when they make these comments, they're getting their asses kicked the whole way around. It's hilarious because karma is a bitch. I am sorry, but it completely is.
It's all capitalism's fault. If it wasn't for capitalism and all people care about is making money off of their $4 billion investment.
They actually want money back from it. Oh, Reylos is canon. Who cares? You're missing someone, and people make comments like, no, they didn't. It's just, where's Ben Solo? Someone else.
Yes!
Yeah.
They is Data Racer. Thank you. Why does Luke look like a woman?
He does.
Hot Luke.
I think it's the art style of the artist because Leia looks similar.
They're going to retcon it because they're going to be like, we're getting a different actor for Luke and we're going to just like CGI his face on.
No, they're all mad. Like, we found better artwork for you to use. But the Star Wars account, the official account, didn't use that artwork. Instead,
so
they used this piece of artwork. And again, I would like to point out that they could have cut it at any place. You know, if they didn't want to use the classic, they could have gone over here, or they could have cut this part out and spliced them together and put the May the 4th be with you. In any place, they could have done that. They chose not to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was cropped, but they still cropped it. So, cry me an effing river.
They are.
And also, I want to point out that they're like, well, they just used it because it was too big. And I'm like, you just put it up on the whole full image and it wasn't too big. You know, why couldn't, if they wanted to, they could have just done that.
They could have stacked it. They could have had prequels up here and sequels down here.
There's so many things they could have done to include it all. They made the choice not to. So you can sit there and say, it's because they cropped it because it wouldn't fit. I love it. It cropped it because it wouldn't fit. But let me show you the image in its entirety to show you how it fits. And I'm just like, really? You know, it's like, that's your argument, but then you just showed me that they could have totally done that.
Everybody shut the fuck up. They put Ahsoka on the poster until Twitter can't. Now they're going to really come after.
Well, Mandalorian isn't in the art at all.
No. I don't
so
think
I'm like, you know, if you want to get mad, well, Mandalorian fans are not mad because Mandalorian's not even in this art piece in any place.
Where's Baby Yoda? Why isn't Baby Yoda hanging out with old Yoda?
That's right. Clearly, that has to be the way it should be. But like, I love it. They did cut it out, which is funny. But they could have put the whole thing in there, or they could have cut it in a different way, and they didn't. The fact is, they did edit it, but they edited it that way. So sit and spin.
This is my feeling exactly. Like,
Exactly.
womp womp. But look, we've been telling you guys this for months, ever since Rise of Skywalker. You know, for a Star Wars movie, underperformed massively at the box office. To Disney, the sequels are over. They're moving on with their Disney Plus shows. I
think the bigger point, though, it was an advertisement for the video games, which it's funny because there's a lot of characters in the video games that aren't part of this, but the prequel or the sequel trilogy characters aren't in the games, other than like the Lego games at this point.
Yeah, they really aren't. I mean, look, when I think of good Star Wars video games, I'm thinking almost exclusively of original trilogy era stuff, and I'm thinking of some of the early prequel era stuff like Pod Racer. I love Pod Racer.
Yeah, well, they had some newer games with new characters. They're not even included in this art. So it was an advertisement for games. It kind of was like, that doesn't make sense anyway. But people were like, well, it's because they didn't put them in there because they're not in the games. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of characters in the games that aren't on this picture either.
Not gonna lie, Luke is looking like a snack.
That's funny.
Where Finn, Rey, Poe, Kylo, weren't they the future? Well, humana, I don't know. And nothing of value was excluded. Not even Star Wars likes the sequels. No, I think there's somebody else running the social account now.
I think so too.
I think it could even be somebody from Disney being like, because I've noticed they've been very corporate lately with the Twitter. It was down for 2 weeks. Now they're just like, just stick to Star Wars. So even comicbook.com is covering it. Star Wars May the 4th poster omits sequels and Mandalorian upsetting fans.
Doesn't take much to upset fans. I love it though. When old school fans didn't like or even people that were newer fans didn't like certain elements of the movie, especially beginning with The Last Jedi, it was because they were just horrible istophobe people, and it was never because they had any valid reasons not to like it. And now that the same things are happening to the Disney sequel trilogy people, their meltdowns are deserved and valid, but everybody else are just istophobe trolls who were big babies and had learned how to let the past die and get over it. So I just think it's funny. Like I said, karma's a bitch.
Yeah, Reylos are going to get burnt. You're going to find out exactly who Disney is when it comes down to it. And Disney's about making money. Mm-hmm. They're about capitalism. Darth Vader merch will always, from now until the end of time, outsell Reylo merch.
100%.
Kylo Ren merch. People aren't going to buy, they'll buy Darth Vader over Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren was a whiny little baby. He was completely whiny little. I was like, first, when we saw The Force Awakens, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I didn't even watch Rise of Skywalker. I cannot muster up enough give a shit. And this is from somebody who's a diehard Star Wars fan who sold toys to go through college, had a character named after them and everything else, read the books like crazy. I cannot muster up enough give a crap to watch the last one.
Give a poop. Don't pollute. I think it's par for the course, guys. You're going to see this. There's going to be some salt. There's going to be some salt flowing because Disney, at the end of the day, they want to sell merchandise. And the sequel trilogy doesn't sell merch. There have been multiple verified articles from people working at Hasbro saying that sequel merchandise, they couldn't move it. They're not Diamond. Diamond Select was like, we're not making sequel characters because we know we're not going to sell
it. They flat out said this.
Yeah.
People, they're going to go where the money is. And it might have meant a lot to you. You might love that movie. And you're allowed to. Again, you're allowed to like it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you aren't. I'm not going to sit here and insinuate and say that you're a racist, homophobic, whatever, because you like it. I'm not going to do that because that's, something trolly that you would do. But you are allowed to like it. People are allowed to not like it. And I'm sorry if more people don't like it than do like it, and it's not going the way you want. Welcome to where everybody else was a few years ago when you all were sitting there mocking them, yelling at them, calling them names, and saying, well, get over it. Get over it. My comment back to you is, get over it.
There you go. We're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.